On the frozen hills of a barren island, a man named Zhilin pushes through the cold searching for somewhere safe to rest. He walks for miles before losing his footing and tumbling into an icy river. The current carries him a good distance before he pulls himself out and keeps moving. When exhaustion finally wins, he collapses against a large rock, picks a flower from the ground and chews on it, and lets his mind drift back to where this all began. Zhilin is serving a life sentence for the killing of 6 men. One afternoon, a guard pulls him out of his cell and walks him to the prison governor's office. The governor sits across from him and asks a single question. What does he dream about? Zhilin is not the only one being called in. One by one, his fellow inmates are summoned to the same office and ask the same thing. Moryak says he wants to see the ocean again. Yakut wants to witness the war with China. Obezyan says nothing at all. Obezyan announces he wants to run the prison himself and become governor. Talia wants to follow the progress of the space station. Sipa wants to be around women again. Whatever Zhilin answers, it stays between him and the governor. The men are told they have been selected for transfer to a penal colony. Shortly after, all of them are loaded onto a ship. The structure mirrors the prison they left, groups divided into cells, the same hierarchies reasserting themselves almost immediately. Obezyan wastes no time establishing dominance, killing a man over a bunk. When the hatch slams shut and the vessel pulls away from shore, panic spreads fast. The men convince themselves it is a ruse, that they are being sent out to sea to die. Violence breaks out as the fear takes hold. The chaos pulls Zhilin back to a conversation he had with Sipa inside the prison. Sipa was never quite right. He spent his days scrawling on walls and muttering things that made no sense. But on one particular day, he had said something that stuck, that heaven and hell were both full and that a third place was being prepared, something between the two for men like them. Zhilin had dismissed it at the time. He is less sure now. Eventually, the panic on the ship dies down. The men settle into an uneasy calm, passing the hours eating and talking. But midway through the journey, a gang breaks free from one of the cells and goes hunting for someone. Obezyan steps in, pretending to broker peace, then murders the man they were looking for. The whole vessel erupts. Prisoners on both sides tear at each other through the bars. Only one man, an old prisoner called Starry, refuses to take part, staying back with his head bowed in prayer. The guards end it quickly, a warning shot, then sleeping gas, and the ship goes quiet. The island is desolate. The prisoners are unloaded onto the beach in numbered handcuffs and made to stand and listen. 2 people address them, Mr. Olafsson and a woman named Marta, the leaders of something called the Terra Nova project. The message is practical and cold. The death penalty is gone from every country. Prisons are overwhelmed. The Russian government has donated this land, and a collection of international organizations is funding what happens here. From this day forward, the men are colonists. Supplies have been provided, enough food for 3 months. A satellite monitors the island at all times. Scattered around the coastline are communication buoys. Any man who needs something can row out to one, press the red button, speak his request, and wait for a green light to confirm it has been approved. The buoys can also be used to leave. A man can state his name and his reason for going, and a boat will come to return him to prison. The fact that the buoys sit offshore, requiring a boat trip to reach, is intentional. It ensures the decision to leave is never made on impulse. Before the guards pull away, they drop a pile of keys onto the sand and explain that each one is numbered to correspond to a handcuff. What follows is immediate and brutal. Men lunge at the pile, fight over the keys, draw blood for a piece of metal. Zhilin and Sipa hold back, collecting only the keys others drop in the chaos. Starry does the same, watching from a distance as one gang forms a wall around the remaining keys, and another raids the supply crates for anything that can be used as a weapon. Ali's gang eventually takes control. Ali claims a good jacket and a solid pair of shoes, then picks out a pair for Starry too. When he grabs a man to send out to the buoy, the others see their opening and attack. The fight that follows is devastating. Dozens die. Moryak kills Ali with a rock. Obezyan kills Starry the same way. 3 men who manage to reach a boat and row toward the buoy fall into the water and drown before they get there. What is left of the group retreats to the warehouse and begins dividing the supplies. Obezyan uses tools from the crates to force his own handcuffs off. Zhilin fills a bag with as much as he can carry, takes a jacket, and listens while Sipa mutters that the food will never last 3 months. Then Zhilin walks away from the group entirely. He's going to survive on his own terms and find a way off the island, which brings the story back to where it started. Zhilin searches the island until he finds a stretch of ground without snow and a rock formation that offers some natural cover. He sits down in its shadow and takes out a photograph he has kept folded inside his prison uniform, his family. He stares at it for a long time. He falls asleep with tears running down his face. Wakes to squealing. The supply bag has been invaded by rodents and they are tearing through his food. When rain moves in, he retreats under the rock formation, gets a small fire going and heats some water. After the rain clears, he catches a bird and sets it over the flame. That is when Sipa appears. The man makes conversation while quietly working toward the knife on Zhilin's belt. Zhilin catches him and takes it back without a word. Sipa offers salt and his labor in exchange for a share of the meat. Zhilin accepts. Sipa heads off to gather firewood and on his way spots the family photograph hanging on the rocks to dry. He blows a kiss in the direction of Zhilin's wife. They share the bird when it is done. Afterward, Sipa walks to the edge of the cliff and stands there looking down. He explains he does not jump because the fear stops him every time. He asks Zhilin why he refuses to die either. Zhilin tells him it is because of his family. They are already dead, and he wants to be buried alongside them, which cannot happen if he dies here on this island. They sleep. When Zhilin wakes, the photograph is gone. Sipa has taken it. Zhilin finds him using it for purposes that have nothing to do with its meaning, and the fury that rises in him is total. He beats Sipa and shoves him off the cliff, but the drop does not kill him. Sipa lands on a slope just below the edge rather than in the ocean. Even after this, the two of them continue moving together across the island. Sipa entertains himself with whatever washes ashore while Zhilin attempts to fish. The only thing living in the water turns out to be something like an aquatic centipede, which sends Sipa scrambling backward. Farther along the coastline, half buried in the rocks, Zhilin finds the wreckage of a seaplane. A short climb up the hill reveals the rest of it damaged but largely intact. Hope moves through him for the first time since arriving. He was a pilot before all of this. If he can get the plane working, he can get off the island. But two men cannot move it alone. They file the Discovery away and return to the shelter. That night, Zhilin lights a fire using matches grabbed from the warehouse. The smoke that comes off them is immediately wrong, thick and acrid and clearly toxic. He drags himself away from it and hauls Sipa out too, but Sipa will not wake up properly. It takes several attempts before he opens his eyes, and even then his words are scrambled. The cold is dangerous now, pressing in from every direction. They decide their only option is to return to the base and take some coal. Back at the base, Obezyan has built something resembling the prison they left. His gang controls everything: the supplies, the movement, the schedule. He has instructed people to call him governor. Those outside his circle are confined to the barracks, allowed outside only at set times to walk within a fenced area, while Estinets watches from a watchtower above. When their time is up, the men have to run. Whoever is last is taken and killed, the body set aside for food later. Zhilin and Sipa find the coal and discover the remains of a fire still holding some warmth. After walking so far in the cold, they cannot stop themselves from lying down beside it. They close their eyes. Sipa wakes first to the sound of voices, the gang approaching with their latest victim for the fire. He slips behind a rock. Zhilin is still lying in the open. Sipa goes back for him, but he is too slow. Obezyan's men find both of them and drag them to the base. Obezyan deliberates over their punishment. Yakut speaks up, reminding everyone that Zhilin and Sipa were on their side during the fight on the ship. Estinets takes offense at the interference and insults him. Yakut's answer is a punch. The whole gang responds to that, and Yakut ends up beaten and moved into the barracks alongside Zhilin and Sipa. The three of them walk the exercise area with the others. When Estinets calls time, Zhilin hangs back. Sipa comes back for him and pulls him inside. They watch as the last man still outside is seized, tied to a post, and left to beg. Sipa brings water to his lips before the end comes. That night, lying in the dark, the group debates fighting back. The risks feel large, but a man named Shram argues it is worth attempting. Talia, meanwhile, has quietly built a hidden trap in his work area to catch anyone who tries to steal from him. The following morning, when Estinets calls the group out for their walk and then signals for the return, only two men run. The rest hold their ground. Yakut throws a rock at the watchtower to silence Estinets. Zhilin walks up to Obezyan and makes him an offer: let them go to the buoy and request more food, and in return Zhilin will give him the location of the plane. Obezyan agrees and opens the gate. While Zhilin and Talia head out on the boat with two others, Obezyan starts asking questions about Zhilin. What he learns is this: Zhilin's family died in a plane crash. Afterward, he went to the airport and shot 6 flight dispatchers with a rifle. The charge was listed as murder committed in a state of extreme emotional distress. Obezyan interprets this as guilt, a man tormented by what he did. The moment the boat is far enough from shore, he goes back on the deal and orders everyone back into the barracks. Yakut confronts him and is killed immediately. Obezyan grabs one more man and announces the game is back on. The group cannot fight. Obezyan's men are armed, so they run. Out on the water, one man tumbles off the boat but is pulled back before he goes under. Talia reaches the buoy and puts in a request for supplies, but the device is broken and his tools cannot fix it. They return to shore. Zhilin tells Obezyan that food is coming. Obezyan does not believe him. There was no green light. Talia then mentions the plane again. Obezyan remains skeptical, but the word triggers something in Obezyanka, who begins running around with his arms out like wings. Obezyan grabs him by the throat to stop it. Talia uses the moment. He comes at Obezyan from behind and kills him. Two of his men, Amerbek and Arzhanov, take down the rest of the gang before Estinets manages to flee. They turn to Zhilin. He tells them to free the men in the barracks. Food is coming. The buoy was simply broken. That is why there was no light. The men push back, nodding there are now enough bodies to feed on for some time. Talia insists they be buried instead. Zhilin brings up the plane. After some resistance, Amerbek and Arzhanov agree. The barracks are opened. The new arrangement is announced. They will wait several days for the food delivery, no one will be used as food, and a team will go out to retrieve the plane so it can be repaired in a hangar they will build. Once it is ready, it becomes their way out. Sipa interrupts everything by announcing there is no satellite, then starts spelling out an SOS message on the beach using sand and 3 of the bodies. Some time passes. Estinets returns to the base. Under the new rules, they give him food and leave his past behavior alone. Zhilin leads a group to the plane. When they see it is real, the mood lifts noticeably. They dismantle it for easier transport and carry the pieces back to the base in sections. Marta arrives eventually with a guard detail. They keep the men back with gas but allow Zhilin to approach and go through their list of requests. She's confused about one item in particular, gas. He explains it is for the generators, which are supposed to be wind-powered but stop working during the polar night. In reality, it is for the plane. He asked why no one responded to Sipa's SOS. She explains that their satellite reads infrared, it detects heat, not shapes. It can find people and fires, but not words written in sand. She also wants to know what a group of men were doing far from the base on a specific day. Zhilin says they were fishing. She tells him there are no fish in these waters. He revises they have been eating those centipede creatures from the sea. Her reaction makes clear this is not the answer she expected. She also asks how many of the original 206 colonists remain. Zhilin finds the question strange. With a satellite they should already know. He tells her 87 with many sick, and that nobody wants to return to prison. Before he goes, she says he is entitled to one personal request. He hands her several sheets of paper with a written appeal on behalf of the group. Once the guards have unloaded the new supplies and left, the men test the gas in the plane inside the hangar. It works. Then a new group of prisoners arrives, Americans accompanied by the same guards and Marta. Their leader is an enormous man. Zhilin walks over and extends a hand. The man hits him instead. Both sides go at each other without hesitation, no one holding back. Sipa pulls Zhilin away into the workshop to get him clear of it. One of the Americans follows them in and falls directly into Talia's hidden trap, dying instantly. Outside, Arzhanov squares off against the American leader and is losing until Amerbek steps in and kills the man. Buildings around them are already burning. The heads of the project are watching all of this. When the numbers come in, more than 40% of the colony wiped out, Marta makes a call to the central office. She is told to execute code Naked Island. Guards flood onto the island and begin shooting every prisoner they can find. Marta feeds Zhilin's letters to a fire. A handful of men survive by hiding in the mountains or the hangar. Zhilin, Sipa, Arzhanov, and Talia. Together they push the plane out, but before they can board, Sipa stops. He tells them goodbye. He walks toward the hills and the cliff above the ocean, and this time he jumps. The fear is finally gone. The 3 remaining men climb into the plane. Zhilin takes the controls and gets it off the ground. Guards open fire as they climb. Both Arzhanov and Talia are hit and do not survive the journey. Zhilin is not touched. He keeps flying and the island disappears beneath him, and for the first time in a very long time, he is free.